some of the city's commitment to preferential procurement that is aimed at transforming the challenges that you are highlighting in the property space and easing some of the barriers to entry, especially for the targeted groups in terms of the city's policy for women, youth, rural, as well as people living with disabilities, military veterans, and the specified criteria. So the city is committed to easing access and is committed to using social housing institutes and gap housing developers that form part of the broader transformative agenda. I think we are going to now move, ladies and gentlemen. I must apologize for the intermittent technical issues. I think in the most part, some of it was due to load shedding. We did get cut off, and when the electricity kicked back, I know that some of the social media platforms lost a bit of sound. We apologize for that. But maybe we can now jump, Slalo, to the question and answer session, and we can maybe field some of the comments as well as the feedback that we've been getting from some of the social media platforms. Slalo, I know that there was a question, for example, from Mr. Deshen Maharaj, and he wanted to know how does the young
I've said to them they must look at young people who are interested in human settlements and building houses, and you must help them form teams, which you could call a developing team or a developer, meaning that the young people must be assisted in getting the CIDP grading. They must be assisted in getting, now we are talking about the gap housing now, CIDP grading. They must be assisted in getting the NHPRC. They must be assisted in putting together teams. It would be great if we can get skilled young people who have skills, like young people who have studied engineering, young people who have studied architecture. They can then form teams. If they can come together, maybe a young person who is an engineer, a young person who has studied construction management, a young person who has studied architecture, a young person who has studied project management. They come together, they form a team, they form one development company, and we will advertise a panel or a incubation program. Now, if they make it into that incubation program, we'll obviously then advertise pieces of land. Will be starting. So when you start, you have to start small. You can't start big. So we'll be looking at maybe Babu Comfort Zama was speaking about his program. It's a big one. He's saying it's going to be doing over 500 units in Bridge City. So you won't start a person with 500 units. You'll perhaps say less than 100 units, maybe 50 units. You can say, here is a piece of land with 50 units, and we're going to say to those who are in this incubation, there is a piece of land, strategic piece of land in Amawuti. I'm making an example. In Amawuti, we want to build 50 gap houses there. So say the incubation program will have 20 incubatees, which is not only going to be young people. It's going to be young people, it's going to be military veterans, it's going to be women, it's going to be people, disabled people. So it's necessarily these groups that we want to incubate and who are going to be the upcoming new developers. And then if you get to win your bid, you then are assisted. The municipality must be able to assist you with helping you come closer with financial institutions, such as the banks. I've emphasized more on Itala Bank, because that's a government bank, on the PIC, the Public Investment Corporation, and all other funding mechanisms that may be offered by our government, our democratic government. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity for these young people, but also in the social housing space. Remember, for you to be a social housing institute, one, you must be a NPC, a non-profit company, or what you call an NPO, previously known as NPO, non-profit organization. Because it's not more about making profits, but it's more about ensuring human settlements. So also for that one, as said by Mr. Zama here, we are going to get young people who have NPCs to apply and help them get their accreditation, because you must be accredited. It's not, I think it's easier to be a developer than to be a social housing institute. Because to be a developer, it's a normal steps. But to be a social housing institute, you have to have an NPC and you have to apply Kashra, the social housing regulator, who Ubaba Comfort Zama explained how difficult it is to get that accreditation. So we must help them. We've got a very young, capable young lady here in the Department of Human Settlements. Her name is Mrs. Zama Mtungwa. Zama Nene Mtungwa. I'm getting used to saying she's now Mrs. Mtungwa. She used to be Mrs. Zama Nene, but she's now taken a very important step. She's Mrs. Mtungwa. She helps with these things. We have tasked her as the municipality to help people get these accreditations. So her office is based at she's at Embassy building. Or she's at the embassy, not the other building. She's at the embassy building. Which floor?
On the 20th floor.
20th floor at the embassy building. You can go there and look for Zamanene Mtungwa, who will help with this accreditation. But once they are accredited, we can then put them into a panel or into an incubation, and we help them grow. It's going to be step by step. This year you may get one of a smaller project, and you'll perhaps find yourself that you want to be out of this incubation. You want to swim with the big sharks, our babuzam, our the sharks in the industry. And you are going to be looking for bigger opportunities. That's what we want to see. We want to see black participation. I think I must emphasize on that. We want to see black people participate in these initiatives so that we can be able to change the ownership patterns. I'm not sure if you want me to deal with the other questions as well.
Yes, please, Esther.
There's a lady that asked, why don't you go for a program of rent to own?
Farm Julia.
It's Farm Julia. Is that her name?
Yes.
That's what she calls herself.
I think it's a pseudonym on social media.
Oh. Has the sound been sorted out? I see some listeners are complaining about the sound.
Technical team?
It has been sorted, okay. She calls herself Farm Julia on social media. She asked about Why do we not make it a rent to own program? FAM Julia, if I can call it in modern day English, FAM. In Zulu we can say FAM Julia. FAM Julia or FAM Julia. The FLISP program addresses exactly that. Social housing is about rental. There are people who own a home, maybe in the rural areas or in another province or in another city. They own a home. But they might be working in Durban. And they are not planning to stay in Durban forever, so they may not perhaps want to own a home in Durban. They don't mind renting in Durban, but having a home which they own somewhere in the rural areas, in Umbumbulu or in Wadwan, KwaXimba. I own my home there in Wadwan, KwaXimba, and I see no reason why I must own another home in the CBD. So I come in the CBD and rent because I'm only making it for me to be able to access my work opportunity where I'm working in the CBD. So I just want to rent. So that is what the social housing program is for. You cannot convert that into ownership. It's a simple, clear program that it is for rental and it will never change for it to be rent to own. It's just for rental. If you want to own, you then enter into the gap housing program, which is the FLISP program, Financially Linked Individual Subsidy Program. It's the same program, but those ones are for the people who now wish to own homes. So you then go and apply and you get your home. You buy your home and you get to be owning. So not all of us want to own in Durban or in these areas. Some of us may just want to rent, and some may want to own. If you want to rent and you perhaps own a home somewhere else, or you want to build a home back at home, some of us have got very strong beliefs in our ancestral homes that I want to build a home in Umbumbulu, where I come from. So I go and build there. But I can rent because I work in the city hall, I work in Durban. I can rent an apartment somewhere in the CBD. So that's what these programs are about. And I appeal to the residents to take it as that, because we sometimes face these challenges. People believe that they can now own this rental stock. The rental stock is simply for renting. It can't change for ownership. If you want the one where you want to own, it's the FLISP program or the gap housing program. So please, FAM, come to this program of gap housing. We can assist you. You can migrate. There is nothing stopping you from migrating. That you have been renting, now you are ready to own. You can then migrate to the other program, which is the gap housing program. So I think I've tried to address that question. The other one, the one is from Lucky Maduna. Lucky Maduna asks about the opportunities, or are we in line with the SDG goals about eradicating poverty? Is this program in line with that, about eradicating poverty or creating jobs and sustainable jobs? Yes, indeed. We believe that infrastructure development is actually what is a big market or economic driver in the country. There are a lot of spin-offs and job creations when you are going to build any form of development, whether you are building just a house. There's an entire value chain. To build a house, you must first employ an architecture who must draw a plan for you. You must then go and employ a contractor who is going to perhaps employ a builder going to employ laborers, going to employ someone who's going to connect you to the electricity, is going to employ a plumber, going to employ someone with expertise in terms of carpentry, your wardrobes in your bedrooms, your kitchen, your tiles. So it's an entire a value chain which creates a lot of jobs. I was just making an example with just one unit of a house. Imagine Mr. Comfort Zama's development in the Bridge City, building 500 units. It's a huge industry that is going to create a lot of jobs. That is why we are now going to push it. We are pushing it because we are also aware of the hard economic times the country is facing with regards to COVID-19 and a lot of retrenchments. That is why we are asking people to look to this sector, not only to come in terms of wanting to rent an apartment or to buy an apartment or to buy a house. We also want people to participate in, because there are a lot of job opportunities. There are also a lot of business opportunities. I can imagine if I am a sand miner. I know a young person who has called me from Ntsimbini area, near the following area. He says he's a sand miner. He wants to know how he can participate in this program. Indeed, we can be able to link them with the developers, because imagine how much sand is going to be used in developing 500 units. Lot of sand. They can't do anything without sand, basically. Someone may want to supply cement. Someone may want to supply aluminium windows if they're going to be using aluminium windows. Someone may want to supply tiles, roof tiles. Someone may be wanting to supply, imagine the tiling. I heard him speak about ceramic tiles.
Yes.
That they are going to be putting ceramic tiles. I've seen those tiles in these homes that are on top billing. See, these homes that are on top billing, they've got these ceramic nice tiles. So if you are a supplier, if you can get a contract with Mr. Comfort Zama at a very good price, and you supply him with just the ceramic tiles, imagine at the end of that contract how much money you're going to come out with as a business person. I'm just highlighting the opportunities that come with the infrastructure development. That is why, as this country, we need to drive infrastructure, and it is a key economic indicator that can help us out of trying times, financial trying times of our country. So we are indeed in line. This is going to eradicate poverty, but also the unskilled laborers. There are people who are unskilled, whom we as a unit, must be able to quickly give them some skills. They can go there and participate, or mix nje usimende kuba udaka boy, sesikubiza ngodaka boy ngakithi ke lokho, ukuba udaka boy yabo, ukuba ubricklayer, ukugijima nebhala. There's a lot of opportunities that's gonna be created by this industry, adding or also assisting into the SDG goal of eradicating poverty, because that in the end is our goal. We want to eradicate poverty. We want to ensure sustainable living of our people in the eThekwini municipality. So ngiyathemba ukuthi ngiphendulile. Ngicabanga ukuthi eminye imibuzo kuphela mabavuka ihlandla ungayibamba mfowethu.
Oh yebo, sibonge sihlalo. Ngiyazi ukuthi mengase usihlalo simdedele nje usuku lonke. It's something that he's very passionate about, poverty eradication, job creation and youth business development. So I got a bit nervous as so I'm going to just allow the Deputy Chair, Ukabazela, the Deputy Chairperson of the Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee, to also field some of the comments and questions that we have been receiving from some of our residents and viewers at home.
yakho.
Right, sir.
Oh.
Thank you, Program Director. Colleagues, the team, the champion and the chairperson, Councillor uThando Xolo Sabelo. Kusuke sekukhuluma nje ukunezezelo, suke seqedile, ingake i-champion. Thina kwethu is to make sure that we do follow-ups. We are on the ground with my fellow councillors and the officials that the work gets done in time, possibly 24/7, 7 days a week. With the pandemic or no pandemic, that's what we are there for. So, with the issues of embracing the apartheid system, this program is unlocking and transforming. This is why we are human settlement. We are not just housing. We are human settlement. So though it's gonna take time for some other people to feel, to touch this transformation, but we've started and we are on it. All we are asking from the residents is to work together. All of us to participate economically. It is a project, definitely it's economically sound. There's job creation, particularly for youth and women, and others, and all other sectors of life. With regards to the storm drainage system that I see one comments there, we are working on it 24/7. All we're asking, people need to report to our call centers and have reference numbers. They are more than welcome to call us direct in our cell phones. Office of the Chair is always available to do their job. We're not assisting. We are doing what we exactly voted for as ANC-led municipality to do. So it's important that all of us, we criticize constructively and we always allow any input to make sure that we fast track where we think we are lacking so that all of us, we move together. In terms of this whole project, it is in line with national, provincial, and local government strategic common priorities for the growth of the inner city economy. That is very important for our listeners and viewers to work with us so that we're not just closing the gap in terms of human settlement. We're closing the gap in terms of opportunities, in terms of skills, experiences, and to participate properly with all the procedure that has been put in place by the city. Thank you.
Siyabonga Kabazela. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it has been a very, we still have a few questions and comments as well. So some of them will be fielded by the head of the Department of Human Settlements, Mr. Lawrence Pazu. Pazu.
Thank you, Program Director. Of course, it's observing protocol. It's not correct to be speaking after my leadership. But there is one question that bengithi usihlalo Deputy Chair uyitholile esiwa kusisi Wendy wasema Kungebeni Ngobese. Question again, how do I get a RDP house for my home? I can't build a house because I'm not working and no family is willing to help because they don't have enough money. Your question, it tells us ukuthi usisi Wendy the family yakhe ba qualify with BNG. BNG meaning breaking new grounds or RDP house. Now, each and every ward, kukhona i-war room assist in profiling abantu abanjengana labo. Now, singam advise usisi Wendy ukuconducta i-ward councillor yakhe ngoba normal ama-ward councillors abawu-chairperson bama-war room, and then they profile the beneficiary. It gets to our closest office for argument's sake. If we say Western region, there's
we decentralized. They've got Western Region offices, Northern Region and Southern Region. So that's when the beneficiaries' names are get forwarded and an application is made for that beneficiary or that family. Because in most times you find that person or that family, they are not living in an area where there is a development that is happening. So that's when OSS comes in and be effective. I think that was the last one. Thank you, Program Director.
Siyabonga baphatho. Sesizocela the Deputy Chairperson of Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee, Councillor Musa Mkhize, to give us the closing remarks and just to give us a closing address for today's engagement. Baba Kabazan.
Once again, thank you very much, Program Director, the Chairperson, Baba Usabelo, Nhloko yomnyango wezokuhlaliswa kwabantu babuzama, the team that made all this possible. We are not just only closing these particular programs. We have got to make sure that we go out and close the gaps out of these comments that people have announced, and make sure that we continue to change people's lives. That's what we are there for as a city. That's what the Chairperson's office is there for at all times. Definitely where he cannot be, he sends us to go out and make sure that we're there. For instance, if you go to Mangobes, if we can get the contact details, we contact her, we will go out and see what is really happening. We'll contact the ward councillor. We send the team. We do assessment. We try what is possible for now while we are preparing for the better. So as a city, Tegwini, as a human settlement and infrastructure committee, we are there to do our job at any given moment. And we are asking all the residents to work with us through this journey of transformation and make sure that people are empowered. And those who have already got these opportunities are out there and assisting other communities, being in townships, in urban areas. And I'm glad that the Chairperson is always emphasizing the issue of rural areas. It is our priority as government of the ANC at all times. Don't make a mistake. All that has been presented here, it's also going to our rural communities, because even industrially, we are coming in, we are going there to make sure that people don't travel so far to town in terms of traffic and stuff like that. But lastly, the pandemic, it's there. We just have to try to maximize the safety at all times through the issue of the COVID-19. It's killing many of our people that you know, our friends, we're burying people almost every day. So we cannot deny it. As a city, as a cluster, the office of the chair, we are there to assist and continuing to assist our residents and people at large in South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal to make sure that we keep ourselves clean, wash our hands, keeping the distance, and more than anything else, keeping our neighbors and our relatives and our loved ones safety at all times. Thank you.
Siyabonga Cwami. That was the Deputy Chairperson of the Human Settlements and Infrastructure Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, that then brings today's session to an end. Thank you so much for joining us from home in the various social media and media platforms. Thank you.